Support for WYES is made possible by Mary Lou Kristovich in memory of her husband, William Kristovich.
Good evening. I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. And seated at our table tonight, Poppy Tucker, host of the radio program Louisiana Eats, airing twice weekly on WWNO Radio. Hello, good to see you.
Hi, Peg.
Hello,
nice
dear.
To see you.
We're so glad she's back. Helen Freund, food writer for Gambit Weekly. You do many other things, but that is why you're here, right?
Yes.
Good to see you. And Steppin Out theater critic Alan Smason. It's nice to have him back, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News, and so much more too. But first up, Poppy.
Well, since I knew Helen was going to be on the show, I figured I didn't have to talk about food. I would talk about drinking. And it's hot. There's no doubting it's hot outside, so let's drink some beer. And that is one thing you can really do. Peggy, I know you're an expert on all the breweries that used to be in New Orleans.
Oh, yes, the old
Dixie
ones,
and
yes.
Falstaff and on and on.
Sort of.
But now, the new breweries, we have a new wave coming along, and we're going to do it geographically. So we're going to start off way uptown on Chapatula Street at Milan and Marengo, one of the newest breweries, Port Orleans. It opened in May. They have 3 signature beers. They've got a kid-friendly tasting room and a dog-friendly patio. And just opened up is Stokehold. And Stokehold is the restaurant inside of Port Orleans with Jeremy Walgamot, who's from Hi Hat previously, Philip Mariano from Dominica, and Tim Bordas. They're serving yummy things to pair with the beers like chicken curry, roast beef tartare, and a beautiful lemony broccoli salad. Yum! So then we're going to go a little further downtown to the Irish Channel, where we find, of course, big, giant Nola Brewing. They have 21 beers in their tap room. They're open 11 a.m. until 11 p.m., 7 days a week. So you want to visit a brewery anytime at Nola.
They're like the older kid on the block now, aren't they?
Now they are.
Pioneer.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Then we're going to go to the Lower Garden District, also on Chapatulas. You can do just a Chapatulas run if you want and go to Urban South, where they have 6 beers for tasting in their tasting room, and they're closed on Tuesdays. So now we're going to jump across Canal Street into the Marigny, and there's a new place called Brew Carré. 6 beers on tap. Open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. And continuing on our route down the river or up the river, whichever way that is, we're going to go to the Bywater, where on Lesseps Street you can find the Pablo Beer Lab. They describe themselves as a destination neighborhood tap room and microbrewery. They're opened afternoons and evenings, Thursday through Monday, and they really want to be a neighborhood hangout joint, and their beers are delicious too. Then we're going to go from Central City to the lake. In Central City, we're going to start off at Wayward Owl Brewing. A lot of people, they're so new, a lot of people haven't even heard of them. They've got 8 beers on tap, and also you can get them to go. They're open Tuesday through Sunday. Then, I just have to tell you, right around the corner from my house is Second Line Brewing on North Bernadotte. And when everyone finishes watching Steppin Out tonight, it will still be light in the sky. And it's a beautiful evening to go out to Second Line Brewing. They're in Mid-City, very near City Park Avenue. And it is just the most charming Wednesday through Sunday. It's a beer garden atmosphere with children and dogs all welcome. There's a rotating schedule of food trucks every night.
It's by the train tracks.
Right on the train tracks. And on Wednesday nights, they have movies. So, it's really fun over there. I love the atmosphere. I think one of the newest is Royal Brewery. They're on Townsend. Now that is Seabrook near the lakefront, and they've got 2 beers. They've just opened. Their 2 beers, I love the names. There's cool as a die, but my favorite is Termite Loge. You have to love a beer named Termite Loge. And their delicious beers are going to be available in bars and restaurants in July. They have a tap room. It's kid and dog friendly. They have 2 patios in the front and the rear. And they're just all great people making great beer. You can go and have little taste, big taste experiments. But then, if I wore you out, or maybe you just are not up for making the trek, then you can take a Brews cruise, which is the coolest concept. There is Amber and Brad Gunn. Their cruises start at $60. You take tours of 3 rotating breweries. It starts from the Avenue Pub, which anybody who is into beer knows that the Avenue Pub is beer central on St. Charles Avenue. So they'll pick you up Friday and Saturday at 6 p.m., Sundays at 2 p.m. But if y'all are listening from the North Shore, they'll pick you up at a Beat a Beer for one of their Brews cruise on Sundays at a Beat a Beer at 1 o'clock. So they'll pick you up there, take you across the lake and back, and then weekly they tour 4 breweries on the North Shore, Saturdays at 11 a.m., and monthly they lead tours to Lafayette and Baton Rouge.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's
Isn't
quite
that
the
fabulous?
combination.
Yeah, what a lot of fun for any beer-loving anybody. There's just, and the flavors, they're citrusy, they're lemony. It's like carbonated lemonade, some of these yummy things. There's great beer to be drunk in New Orleans. It's not just Dixie and Falstaff anymore.
And Regal.
And Regal. And
All
those
these
ads. I'd like to see that ad again.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Nicole Messina named the 2 bridges upriver from the UEP Long Bridge, one named after a former congressman and the other after a song, the Hales Boggs Bridge and the Sunshine Bridge. Now tonight's question. 4 uptown thoroughfares are named after American generals. Name 3. Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prize is a year's subscription to Louisiana Life magazine, a tea towel with the message "I Chef" from our friends at Wearable Vegetables, and a pair of free admission passes to either the Audubon Zoo, Aquarium of the Americas, or the Butterfly Garden and Insectarium. And thanks to Pelican Publishing, we have the book Hard Roll, a paramedic's perspective of life and death in New Orleans by John McCarty. John will be speaking tomorrow at the 3rd Annual Mystery Writers Conference at the East Bank Regional Library in Metairie. McCarty will also be one of 5 speakers, including authors and criminal activity experts. Presentations begin at 9:30. McCarty will speak at 2 p.m. More information can be found on the Sisters in Crime websites.org under Calendar. You can visit WYES.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events, and you can also link to our WYES YouTube channel to view our program. And now, Helen, I opened up a Gambit this week, and you were talking about Bratz Y'all in Bywater, and I thought, oh my goodness, we really don't have much German food around.
There's really not that much, no. And I mean, most people are familiar with the owner Sven Forkoff's long-running Bratz Y'all pretzel and sausage stand, right? We've seen them at Ferret Market, which is where they launched in 2012, but also just across different markets and festivals. And so he finally opened up a brick and mortar, and it's charming. It's right behind Pizza Delicious on Piety Street. So you could easily walk by and not see it, but I suggest that you do. Look a little bit closer.
So you're outside and inside, or primarily outside?
Yeah, it's mostly, it's really like a beer garden primarily. But there is, for inclement weather, there is like an indoor area where you can sit. And it's kind of what you would expect. It's typical German fare. No one's trying to reinvent the wheel, but it's really classic, traditional bratwurst, sauerkraut, pretzels, and then some specials that they have occasionally too.
Yeah, and thanks to Cheryl Gerber and Gambit, we've got some great pictures here too. Yeah, so inside or outside, that's your choice. In there, and by Pizza Delicious, you go and have a slice of pizza and go have.
If you're still hungry, which I highly doubt.
No, I doubt. Tell me about the Drunken Pig.
Oh, the Drunken Pig, it's great. And I'm not sure if it's called the Drunken Pig or the Drunk Pig, but same difference. It's kind of like the German answer to a cochon de lait sandwich. It's beer braised, roasted pork. falls apart. It's milky. It's delicious. And it comes on a bun. It's topped with sauerkraut, and then it's got kind of that sweet, spicy German mustard. It's great.
Yeah. Now, Sunday nights, they do something special?
Sunday nights, only Sunday nights, they do what they call a Schweinhaxe, which is a...
well said.
Well, I am German. So.
That's right, that's right.
So it's basically like a roasted pork shank, but the entire pork shank. So come hungry or go with at least a couple of people. And they serve it very traditional style. It just comes out of the oven. You've got these crispy, fatty bits and tear it away, and then you've got really tender roasted pork. Comes with sauerkraut, comes with mustard, and then it comes with these bread dumplings that are amazing too.
Now, I understand they also have German wines.
They do, which you don't see so often.
No,
They've got a good
no.
selection of German beers, which are a little bit more common, but I think, for the average consumer, you don't really come across some of these German varietals that often.
My husband Errol loves Riesling,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't like it as sweet, and so it's good if you can get one thing by the glass, you know, because, But my gosh, some of us baby boomers grew up with what? Blue Nun. I won't look at anybody. Remember Blue Nun and Gewürztraminer and all those things? But like everything old is new again, especially for the summertime. Kind of cool, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
What are some of your favorite German dishes? Or
Oh,
it's
well,
heavy,
my
though,
favorite German thing is Oktoberfest at Middendorf's. I love it when
something to look forward to. Huh?
when Horst cooks his German food. It's fabulous.
I'm also looking forward to, I just heard that Deutsches Haus, the area along the bayou, right there near Esplanade, that they're actually moving Deutsches Haus back from Rivertown. They're going to set it up, huh?
Yeah,
in the fall.
it's
That'll
gonna
be
be
fun.
yeah, it's
That's
gonna be
great.
great.
I miss Galvez. Of
I
course,
know, we
forget
all
it.
do,
That's
but-
part of the hospital complex. But I remember it well. Well, back to Bywater. A few other favorite places in Bywater.
Bywater. I mean, the one thing I love about the Bywater is that it really is, it's a neighborhood that has exploded in the past 10 years, but you still have this neighborhood feel, right? You still go into a restaurant and it feels kind of comforting and casual, and like you can just pop in for a slice of pizza and a glass of wine, like Pizza Delicious, which
Is delicious.
Is delicious. And, I can't think of a better place to go if you just wanted to have a quick slice and a casual night, and their ingredients are fresh and it's wonderful. But then you've also got sort of some of these newer places like Cafe Henri from the Cure folks over, I think it's on Louisa Street. They're really wonderful. They've got some really interesting dishes they're doing too. And same thing, you walk in and you've got a neighborhood feel. There's nothing, too upscale or pretentious about it. You can go in if you just want to have a casual night in with your family or by yourself.
It's kind of like home cooking.
Yeah,
It really is.
Exactly. And then I think, there's so many new places that are coming to the area still.
On St. Claude alone, you've got what? The Cheesy Cajun.
Yeah.
The Spotted Cat that used to be Fatouche.
N7 across St. Claude, which is one of my favorite places in the city.
That is one of the more mysterious places, isn't it? Isn't it in the
Yeah.
backyard?
It is in a backyard. When I have people come to town that want to go to Bacchanal on a Saturday night, I tell them, as much as I love Bacchanal, if you don't want to deal with the crowds, go to N7. It's smaller, granted, but it's kind of a similar, like, romantic, casual, outside, al fresco dining.
I'm a big meat girl, and I just love shank.
Oh, yes.
Holy
Shank is
moly.
wonderful.
That Chris. Oh, God. Chris is cooking delicious things.
We have to have him on. Wouldn't he be
that would
great?
be so
And I love
fun.
all the tattoos. He's got the,
Yes.
the tattoos. The market, the St. Roch Market, that seems to continue on. I know that sometimes the faces change and some of it, but it continues.
It
doesn't
continues. They're still going strong. The owners are actually opening up another market that's similar to that in the Warehouse District.
Oh, where?
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't know the street off the top of my head.
Okay.
but
Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
Mhm.
It just kind of
Yeah, I think
expanding.
fall is sort of what they're slating right now. Yeah.
So, I keep thinking about how Mid-City rocks, but now really St. Claude, the Cheesy Cajun is so much fun. Back to
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That was the first place where I guess I'm a little behind. It had cheese curds as an appetizer.
It was actually the first place I ever had cheese curds.
Really?
Too,
Okay,
so
good.
don't
I
be
don't feel-
embarrassed.
And there's the sneaky pickle.
Yes, of course.
I love the name.
Sneaky pickle. And then you still have Elizabeth's. You still have
Yep.
your tried and
Elizabeth's
true.
The Joint, which is really one of the pioneers of like the
Joint,
barbecue
yeah.
renaissance we're seeing right now, and I still think it's some of the best barbecue.
But
in
it's
town.
really
Yeah.
amazing because you didn't used to be able to eat anywhere
No.
downtown.
Yeah.
I didn't
And,
used to go that far
That's true.
downtown.
That's true.
Tell the truth.
That's right. Exactly. Well, Helen, it's great to have you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks to be
sharing
here.
all this with us, of course. And now it is time for our artist spotlight. Tonight, Tom Gregory spotlights the work of Raine Bedsole, whose love of taking artistic artistic journeys is evident.
Born in Mobile, Raine Bedsole now calls New Orleans home. Her work is included in the collections of the New Orleans Museum of Art and the South Carolina Museum of Art, and featured in the Hollywood blockbuster series Twilight.
Picasso said that you spend the rest of your artistic life trying to get back to where you were when you were 5. That's kind of the pinnacle of creative development. That was the beauty of raising children. Oh my goodness, to watch their creativity and the way they think. I used to actually use a lot of their drawings and writings in my work. I would literally put them in the surface of sculptures or paintings. But just watching their process and encouraging that and being a part of that was so magical. A 5-year-old is completely unself-conscious, and that's the place that you have to find when you're working on something. And you know you've found it, or that you've gotten plugged into that creative source when you lose track of time, you don't think about where you are, where the world disappears and it's just you and the piece interacting. I had a very watery childhood. Some of my work deals with rivers or branches on trees. You know, at every fork you make a decision that takes you on this journey. The boats are metaphorical concept for the journey, but they're also sort of a physical one too. Kind of the personal journey and the universal journey that we all take. We all sort of have to go around the world to get next door, I guess. I started early on with the boats because I'd had this dream about traveling. In the dream, I was traveling in a small canoe. My body, I was laying down in a small canoe and sort of left an imprint on it. And it was a revelationary sort of dream where I was told some things, and that vessel just stayed with me. You know, it's like the metaphor of the boat for your journey through life. We each are on a certain path, and nothing is superfluous, I think, in that path. You know, they all, even the dead ends, lead us to something where we're supposed to be going. Like meditation, the goal is to lose yourself. I think is the goal of making art, writing, whatever thing you do, that you try to lose yourself and become the piece. Because it's never about the product, you know? I mean, it's that moment of being one with the piece, making it. It's just in here where it counts, you know? And that's what makes me love what I do. I feel like the luckiest person on earth to come in here and be able to make stuff. It's like kindergarten every day.
I love hearing make stuff, just make stuff, as she puts it. Wonderful. Raine Bedsole may be contacted by email at rbedsole@me.com, and her website is rainebedsole.com. Now to Mr. Allen.
Well,
He's
I'm fresh back from San Francisco and the 50th anniversary of Monterey Pop and the beginning of the Summer of Love. I was there for the American Theater Critics Association conference that we have annually, and I got to see a few beautiful plays, including Hamilton, the San Francisco production, and pre-Broadway Roman Holiday. So I got a chance to see it. I think it's going to go to Broadway. They're establishing it pretty soon as a new theater they're looking for, but it's going to need a little bit of work. So we'll see what happens when it gets there. Now, moving on from the West Coast to the South, though, this is closing week for a number of plays, including Father Comes Home from the Wars, parts 1 through 3 by Susan Laurie Parks. This, of course, is the award-winning playwright who did Top Dog, Underdog. This is a play, though, that's set in the Second World War, and it based a lot on the Iliad, the Homer tale, as it were. As a matter of fact, to maybe strike the hammer and drive the point home, she even went so far as to include a chorus in the introductory act, which is called A Measure of a Man, and a slave character is named Homer. She uses modern language and situations in which he sets up the slaves. Sam Malone plays the hero. Of course, he's named Hero, a slave who must decide if he's to fight for the Confederacy again, a group that would really want to enslave him still. So here he has a choice between becoming a free man if he trusts his master, the Colonel. Colonel is played by Greg Baber. He captures and confronts a Union officer named Smith, played by Todd D'Amour, in the second of the 3 parts. And again, it's a great opportunity to see some of the way in which the Confederacy built itself upon the slave mentality and the master mentality, and also where the two get together of Hero and Smith and how they interact as a slave who is somewhat free to fight for the cause for the Confederacy and a free man who is enslaved in a cage. It's very interesting. Third part of it, of course, Father Comes Home for the War Part 3 deals with Robert DeKey comes out. He is Homer, and he is a love interest for Penelope, if you will, from the Iliad Penny in this particular production. That's played by Adela Johnson. All great parts, all wonderfully acted. It runs for about 3 hours, and it's directed by Valerie Curtis Newton. She explores much of the way, though, in that blacks interact with each other and, of course, with the white society. Again, I guess it really has a lot to do with freedom as well, and shows what freedom truly means to all of the slaves. Again, it is closing this weekend, but I would really highly recommend it. It is a regional premiere as well. Now, on to the closing weekend for Terrence Mann's It's Only a Play. It's a cast that includes Ricky Graham as James Wicker, a TV actor, Alex Ates, who's a wannabe young upstart, Leslie Castay, Virginia Noyes. How could this not be a comic romp? They've got Cecile Montaigne as a cockeyed optimist producer named Julia Butter, and Sean Patterson, who plays Peter Austin. This is his Broadway debut, and he's looking for it to be a great success. It's a play called The Golden Egg, and unfortunately, except for perhaps one small glimmer of hope, it doesn't exactly
what a cast.
Go.
Alan, what a cast.
Now, I'll tell you, James Bartell plays Ira Drew, who is a wannabe playwright, of course, and what is his real occupation? He's a theater critic. Again, there are a number of insider jokes written about everything in theater and outside of theater. Basically, it's a rapid fire 2-act play. I think it really suffers a little bit from sort of falling on its own petard, if you will. Great talent, but I thought it would be a little bit funnier. I think they did great work in the play, and it is a wonderful production. But again, I had not seen it on Broadway, and I can only imagine what it was like with Nathan Lane and all those people on Broadway. But it is a very fine production, and one that I think that people will enjoy seeing. Again, it's going to be closing this weekend as well, and again, it's directed by A.J. Allegra of the NOLA Project. Also closing this weekend, but of course opening this week too, is Annie Get Your Gun. I can't say enough good things. This is probably the best production of Annie Get Your Gun that I've ever seen, and I'm saying that even knowing that the late, great Cynthia Owen had played the title role of Annie Oakley some years back, and I thought, her performance could not be better. But what differs that production and this production is that this is the Peter Stone revision. And what happened was in 1999, when Bernadette Peters was going to revise this particular role, they rewrote the script. There are some rather, I would say, very offensive parts for some of the Native Indians in some of the songs that Irving Berlin wrote, and also some of the references to the Native Americans. So they cleaned it up. They got rid of some of the offensive parts and basically made it a little bit tighter, taut production. And again, you've got some incredible performances. Katie Howell does, as I said, a great Annie Oakley. You've got other people who are in the production as well. Obviously, the main character, Frank Butler, is in there, and that's Jason. Excuse me, 1 second. Get it for you real quick. Jason.
Well, it's Jason.
Yes, I have it in front of me.
That's Jason.
He's great. No, I mean, in terms of what. Yeah, I had it in front of me. I'm sorry about
That's
that.
okay.
Jason Dowies, and it's a hard name for me to remember. You've got Buffalo Bill played by Randy Sheremy, Ken Good as Charles Davenport. You've got all of the great production and choreography done by none other than Diane Lala, and she's done such a great job with all of the work over there. Michael McKelvey can be really proud. This is the first production, of course, for the season, and it's on the boards. Why? Because Annie Oakley and Annie Get Your Gun was the first production they did 50 years ago. So again, great news there. And again, this is one I would really mention is really top notch. Again, Annie Get Your Gun runs through Sunday. Now, playing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Jim Fitzmaurice has come with a new production. It basically does what it does to look at the bats in this belfry is what it's called. It's a look at the Cape Crusader, the Dark Knight, the Batman, and it's his take on that. Again, that's going to be playing only for the week. And then coming up this next week, for the first time again, that they're announcing it because they had planned on doing something else, but now it's back again on the boards. Stage Door Idol 8 is going to be auditions June the 26th and on Thursday, June the 29th, and I'll be there as well. So keep that in mind. And then one last thing I want to mention is that they're going to have, believe it or not, a musical based on Jurassic Park, as done from the juxtaposition, from the viewpoint, if you will, of the dinosaurs. It's a singing musical, and it's called Triassic Park. The musical starts June the 29th. And it's See 'em on Stage Productions. Watch out, there may be another blood splatter zone. You never know.
Picks of the week, Poppy.
Well, you can't afford a Caribbean vacation this summer? Take a vacation and go to NOLA Caribbean Fest, happening tomorrow and Sunday from 5 until 10 p.m. at Central City Barbecue on South Rampart. And if you have not yet been to Simone's Market on Oak Street, Saturday, Simone is having a tasting party. Delicious things to eat for free tomorrow from 2 until 4 on Oak.
Thank you, Helen.
I would say dim sum at Maypop because it's fun, it's different. You can try lots of different things instead of just one thing, and it won't break the bank.
Okay.
Yeah, and the octopus shumai is just to die for.
I caught a play last night. It's called Lobby Hero at UNO. I'll have a review on it next week. Really terrific play. And also for the kiddies, let's say the Patchwork Players will be presenting Aladdin at the Rivertown Theaters, and Disney's A Little Mermaid will be at the Cultural Arts Center in Chalmette on Palmisano Boulevard.
My friend Ricardo Pustanio, who's such a wonderful artist, is doing a lot of the props. There's 70 people in the
3 rotating casts. 3 rotating casts.
Yeah, bravo to them. Good for them. And now my picks. Acclaimed pianist Peter Collins will be playing a recital this Sunday evening at 6 p.m. at St. Mary's Chapel, also known as St. Mary's Italian, at the old Ursuline Convent in Charters. Visit St. Louis Cathedral's website for more information on that. But any donation is welcome because it's going to be put towards the purchase of a Steinway piano for St. Mary's and the restoration of their historic Pilcher pipe organ. And Letters Read, an ongoing series in which local actors reading historically important personal letters relating to New Orleans. They'll be presenting the Herman and the Grima family letters. Featured are Ashton Ackridge, Richard Mayer, and our Aaron Rickard. It takes place next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at the Herman, the historic Herman Grima house right there on St. Louis Street. So visit their website for more details. Thank you all so much, and thanks for watching. Good night.